Anybody of a certain age will never forget the night that this terrible atrocity happened. Hard to believe, 43 years ago.
It is hard to believe, and 43 years on we're still searching for the truth, which is why we're here today. We feel that we have been denied justice and denied the truth. So for us coming today to the policing board, it's important that we re-emphasise that the families' quest for justice and for truth still goes on. We are asking the policing board today for two things. One is to have an Article 2 compliant investigation. In other words, the right till our families' lives were taken. Frank McLaughlin lost his father in McGurks bar. I lost my grandfather, Philip Gary, and there was 15 men, women and children brutally murdered on the 4th of December 1971. And ever since there's been a cover-up, in our opinion, led by the PSNI, or their forerunners in the RUC, but the PSNI today are still carrying on that cover-up. In other words, they're still protecting the people who were involved in covering up and blaming the wrong organisation, because they blamed the IRA and are still blaming the IRA for McGurks instead of putting the blame where it belongs with the UVF. So our quest today is to ask the policing board, now in the light that they're talking today about a replacement for the HET, which we were totally dissatisfied with. We've almost had 4 reports, and the last report was the worst, in which they said there was no investigative bias on behalf of the old RUC. That's what we were dealing with. The gatekeepers, the special branch who were inside the HET, and they were basically putting out reports like that. So we're here today to ask the policing board for a proper Article 2 compliant investigation, and also to look at what's happened recently. And when you have senior members of today's PSNI stating that their job is to defend the reputation and the corporate memory of the RUC, it's not. They should be standing with the families. They should be helping us instead of blocking us, and that's why we're here today, to ask the policing board to help us to get those blockages removed, so we get to the truth and we finally get answers 43 years later.
Jerry Kelly, hard to believe 43 years have passed.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. 43 years it has taken this length of time, and remember, we've gone through a number of reports. We've gone through a non-investigation, a number of non-investigations. We went through the Ombudsman's report. The Ombudsman was the first time where the families of the McGurks bar were able to be vindicated and acknowledged in public. Then we had the desperate situation where the Chief Constable who was there at the time, Matt Baggett, then came out and actually defended the RUC investigation at the time. Ridiculous. Now, it is 43 years to the day. The families are down here. They've had the stamina and the ability to carry out through that. You know, people have died in the meantime. This was a group of totally innocent people. I mean, I'm old enough to remember it at the time, and to remember that the accusations were put out when in fact we now know, and it was known almost immediately, if not immediately, by the RUC at the time, that it was actually carried out by a loyalist gang. So they're in court at the moment. I was down in the court during the week. They will continue that. We will support them in doing that, and the truth will out. It's not that people don't know the truth. It's the fact that there needs to be acknowledgement, and there's a lot of talk about acknowledgement around victims of violence, but there needs to be, the state needs to be accepting. You know, if the Ombudsman comes up with this report, they need to disclose the information. They need to help in bringing, if closure is the word, certainly bringing the information and truth to the families who have been involved here. And this is nagging until another generation.